Instaclass by Amity Online. Hi, guys, all of you at Amity and friends of Amity and everybody watching. My name is Sandeep Nath, and today we're going to be talking about Zen secrets for powerful leadership. Now, Zen is something that comes from Japan, as you might have heard of it, and that's called the land of the rising sun. But do you know something? The sun actually rises in a place called New Zealand. Out of all the countries on the planet, that's where it happens first. And what New Zealand is famous for, which I discovered when I spent about 3 months there a few years ago, is its sheep farms. They've got the maximum number of sheep. And what's a sheep farmer's job? Do you know? I always thought that it was grazing the sheep, making sure that they didn't eat any poisonous plants, maybe, going out, having fun in the grass, making more sheep and stuff like that. Actually, where the money comes from is in shearing the sheep, taking the wool off. Now, think about this: the sheep farmer, the shepherd, if he is taking the sheep out to graze and he forgets this basic idea of going to the sheep shearer's place and night falls, do you think that anybody in any of those sheep in that pack, in that flock, is going to say, "Sir, it's the middle of the night and we were to go to the sheep shearers"? Not likely. What I want you to take away from here is that when you get into a position of leadership, it is you and you alone that has to know where to take the flock. The flock is not going to tell you that. And it's going to come to you when you remember, when you are mindful of what it is that you are doing. If you're out of that, if you're also, enjoying yourself in the sun and maybe eating some grass yourself, you're not going to be making any profit. You're just going to have a good day out in the sun. So, as a leader, the first thing that we've got to know is that the stuff that we have to do and drive comes from inside us. And that is why Zen becomes a very powerful vehicle for us to lead with. Now, what is Zen? Zen is a word that comes from the word dhyan, which goes back 4,000 to 5,000 years, and from India, from the Vedas, or maybe even earlier. And it refers to single pointedness of your awareness, very, very fixated, concentrative awareness. Now, when this idea of awareness, what's inside, what's driving us, our inner power, when that was manifested by the yogis, by the people, the practitioners, many of them found that they can make huge changes in the way that they govern, in the way that they're able to advise the political rulers of the land. You may have come across people like Chanakya, for instance, and even before that in the Mahabharata, in various mythologies. Mythologies are nothing but what works put in a story so that it's palatable, so that more people read about what's working. How many people are going to read about technical stuff? But as a story, we love it. So there are a lot of secrets uh, about. Yeah, there are a lot of secrets about what's working in the ancient wisdom sciences. And when these wisdom sciences went across to China, they were called Chan. And when there was a confluence of that with the Taoist practices, which come from the natural way, then it became something called Zen and something called Sion, which went to South Korea, and Thien, which went to Vietnam. But all of them have the same base. And the base is about going deep within and understanding that our ability to influence and impact outside of us lies inside of us. So, that said, with that background, let me give you today three secrets which are going to serve you all your life, today, as a leader, and forever. And the first of these is service. The whole purpose of a leader is to serve. That's the key. And I think my video is frozen perhaps, but let me just continue and we'll take care of that as we go along. The purpose of a leader is to serve. When you find that an organization is being developed without a purpose, the organization goes nowhere. Now, why is this a Zen thing? Because as you see, this monk has a bowl with him, and that bowl is where he gets his food from. So, at every point of the day, the monk remembers that unless he serves and provides that valuable knowledge to his community, to the villages that he goes to, and spreads the message of better living, unless he does that, it's not happening. He's not going to be getting his food. And while that is a kind of extreme way of putting it, that is how we've got to look at developing our organizations and playing a role as a team leader, as a junior member of an organization also, because when we know that there's this give and take, that is when we know that we are on track. Furthermore, we've got to be serving with a smile. So it's not like the customer service, where there are calls to attend and there are customers that you have to feel that it's my job to do and therefore you per functionally do it. You've got to do it from deep within. So in modern management practice, there are these terms that have been coined about servant leadership. You can read about stuff like that. But the core of servant leadership comes way back from uh, dhyan and ancient Oriental wisdom practices, which are about keeping your ego down and looking ahead, looking further. The leader is the visionary. People just follow the vision. The flock follows where the shepherd goes, and the shepherd, being taller and having the right knowledge and wisdom, knows where the sheep shearer is and takes the entire flock there. So that's very, very critical. Even in our own lives, without purpose, we are kind of demoralized. Even if you form a WhatsApp group without a purpose, there is no alumni linkage, it's just a random group. You find nobody's going to even send a forward in that group. Happens? Why? Because it's only with purpose that things move. And that is the best purpose, is the purpose that is of service. So the Buddha said this 2500 years ago, that the way to liberation is to work in the service of all sentient beings, not just all human beings, all sentient beings, anybody with a consciousness. And that is what the Zen monks have internalized. So, service for them is service for ants, service for plants, service for human beings, of course, and putting their interests before your own. And if that can be done, you're what's called in modern jargon a servant leader. So if you like that, drop in something in the chat box. And even if you have questions, I'll take them up in the end. Let me just take you through the three secrets first. And I'll straight away come to the second one, which is about simplification. Simplify your life. Simplify your table. Simplify the desktop of your computer. Simplify your mailbox. Simplify your closet. You know, a Zen monk, he has only two robes. One he washes and the other he wears. That's it. And the key here is that this is kind of minimalistic living. But the key here is that when you are able to do that, you have so much more time for all the decisions that you need to take, all the things that you need to do, whatever you need to achieve, because On mundane, routine, day-to-day tasks, they are simplified. They are bare boned to what is absolutely necessary. What's necessary for this guy is his hat, his robes, his begging bowl, and his shoes. That's it. That's all he's got. And that's not because he is away from society and that's why he can do stuff like that. We have another guy called Barack Obama who also got just very fixed dresses. We had a guy called Steve Jobs who got very fixed dresses. They were kind of corporate monks, and there are many more examples like this. Many more. If you think about them, or if you Google them, or if you read a book called Renewal, that refers to this because it's about the renewal of our consciousness. That is so critical. Now, simplification is not just about your possessions. Simplification is also about your actions. So there is a very cute and powerful Zen statement or set of statements. It says, when walking, walk. When eating, eat. That's a lesson in mindfulness by itself. That do what you're doing. Multitasking is overhyped. Multitasking does not work. Your focus and your ability to stay on point, that's what even Richard Branson does. Richard Branson runs maybe 6 different industries, billion-dollar companies in each one of them. But if you read his autobiographies, he's very Zen-like. He says, I spend fixed pockets of time on specific companies. It's not like I'll do a little bit of aviation and when the phone rings for music, I'm going to get into Virgin Music. And when we talk about, the next half an hour is going to be for entertainment, not like that. When in aviation, he goes out to space, he's only in aviation. You get it? So you've got to learn to build those habits today, to design your life and your thinking to be that as you go along. Are you ready for the third habit then? Third is to sequence. Because when you are in a simplified mode where you're basing yourself on what's necessary, it's very important to have those necessities in the right priorities. Otherwise, you just might spend all your time on stuff that is irrelevant. So when you're sequencing, like it takes a lot of single pointed awareness, concentration to do stuff like that, of course, but you are actually creating habits. You're creating rituals. Now, those rituals are about what happens, then what happens, then what happens. All of modern management, all of PERT charts and Gantt charts and stuff like that are basically sequencing stuff so that the whole team stays on the same page and we find it easy to lead the team. Otherwise, everybody's going to go in their own directions. But for you to make a habit of sequencing things is just going to compact things into stuff that gets done at the right time. Doing the right thing at the right time is very, very, is classic definition of productivity. If you're not doing the right thing, you're not productive. If you're not doing it at the right time, you're not productive. So knowing how you do it and bringing that into your day-to-day habits, that is classic Zen. Now, I'll give you an example. During this lockdown, my wife teaches Spanish. She's from Mexico, and she started taking these classes online. Of course, she was always doing that, but in the mornings, because now the students got free in the mornings because of the lockdown, and that was the time she used to usually water the plants. So my point is, she said, Sandeep, you got to start watering the plants. I've got classes. Now, watering the plants is not something I used to normally do. So here I was forgetting to do that. What did I do? I used to have my breakfast and then I used to wash the dishes. When washing, wash. All right. Then you feel the suds. You don't have to actually wash to clean. You have to wash to wash. Automatically, it'll get cleaned. So that was what I used to do. I said, I'm going to put in between the sequence of breakfast and washing dishes, I'm going to put watering plants. So whenever I would go to the kitchen by habit, and I was confronted by the sink would talk to me Have you gone to the plants? And that is how you build sequences. And you can build them infinitely. That is what a Tai Chi practice is about, where you build infinite sequences of how you move about and you move energies with it. But that's way beyond just Zen for leadership. That's for huge productivity and making a difference. So, long story short, if you remember to stick on the purpose of serving, keeping your life and your belongings and your thinking process simple, and always at all points in time, knowing that you are running a certain sequence and running it very deliberately, you're going to find that you are one of the most productive people, one of the most efficient people, and probably one of the most energized people. For which, because we have a few minutes, I'm going to give you a bonus secret to keep you very, very energized. And this is a book. And this book is the one I mentioned a little while ago. It's about how to create habits and exactly which habits to create to renew yourself minute to minute. So it can be 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. You will be totally energized. Not only you will also energize your relationships because it's about renewal of self and renewal of what we're connected with. So we're connected with other people, we're connected with the planet, with the environment. And what is it that your role is in all of that? We're connected with systems. How can you change systems? How can you develop systems? What can you do about it? This book is yours for free. There's a site there, renewalism.com. Just hop in and uh, go to the page that says, what does it say? Get my copy or something like that. Get a copy. There's a blue button. If you click on that button, you can get an author signed personalized copy. And otherwise, there's a pay what you want where you can pay 0.00 and just pick up a free copy. I'd love you to get an author signed copy because it would be a pleasure to stay in touch with you and to really get to know what what you thought of the book and what you think of bringing the renewalism movement into a veritable movement this decade. So that's what I'm working on, and I look forward to a lot of people from Amity Online and from the entire community to participate with me on that movement. Leaving you with a last thought from one of the greatest living Zen masters of today. Keep this with you because as you start your journey in the world, or wherever you are in your journey of the world, you have more possibilities than you can ever imagine. There are more possibilities in every moment. But the point is, are we in the moment or are we not in the moment? You could be in the past, you could be in the future. But when you are in the moment, possibilities open up. And this is quantum physics for you. Possibilities, how waves and particle matter are different at different points in time. Everything is in the moment. Make your great moments. And it was absolutely lovely having this conversation. Thank you so much.